Yo, what's up everybody? Dota just released 7.12 and I prepared this beautiful game for you so I can kind of show you what's important in the patch. Now, to make this absolutely clear, I'm not gonna go over every change in the patch. I'm only gonna go over the changes that I deem significant for you to know. What counts as significant? Something that changes how you play the hero. So, for example, Crystal Maiden now gets more passive mana regeneration from her aura than she did before. While that's nice and it's a buff to Crystal Maiden, it doesn't really change how you play her, right? Like, that doesn't really change anything. So, yeah, those kind of changes is stuff we're not going to talk about, and I'm just going to talk about things that are possibly confusing, new, or just kind of interesting. So, let's go through the list. First of all, Pangolier is now enabled in Captain's mode. This is not really too relevant to most people, I guess, but it is very relevant to competitive Dota, so if you keep up with that, I might actually watch some competitive Dota now. Like, I haven't been watching competitive Dota recently, and Pangolier is a hero I like, though, and I'm very interested to see how he plays out there, and I'm very interested to see what they do with him. But yeah, he's enabled now, so that's good shit. So, first up, we've got Spirit Vessel. Spirit Vessel was changed. It now, instead of dealing health-based damage that is direct HP modification, it now does magic damage. Now, to kind of explain this, so Dota has 3 damage types, which are pure, magic, and physical, and then it has a 4th one that is not really like a super official damage type, which is direct HP modification, which is where you just lose HP. You don't take damage, you just lose HP, right? So it's not really damage, you just don't have the HP anymore. Spirit Vessel was one of the few things in the game that uses that last thing. Now it doesn't do that anymore. Previously it was at 3%, now it's at 4.5% magic damage instead. What this really changes is that in specific situations it may be weaker or stronger. It's not really a nerf, it's more moving away from the HP modification thing, which is a good thing. Like, honestly, that HP modification bullshit is, well, bullshit. So, yeah. Anyway. We've got Bloodseeker. Now, Bloodseeker is gonna be quite a bit of fun. Bloodseeker's E now lingers for longer. Alright, so first, right here, you drop HP or like damage on enemy heroes, you go fast, right? And as they regen up, you kind of like lose it, I guess, right? But if you now do this a bunch of times, you go super, super quickly. And if somebody dies, then you lose that speed, right? So if I go in here and I kill Henry, oh my god, I would lose that speed immediately. But now, because it lingers for 4 seconds, as you can see, I was still able to scoot around really quickly. To kind of show that again, look at my movement speed, right? I'm gonna kill Mildred right here, and I have 1300 something, and I go really, really fast. In just a little while, it's gonna drop significantly like it just did. This change is very much going into the right direction, I think. In the future, I'm hoping they are actually going to change Bloodseeker significantly in a different way. Well, it's apparently very important that the structures are fortified. But basically, something that Bloodseeker makes that makes Bloodseeker a little bit weird is that the hero benefits from enemies being on low HP, but he doesn't benefit from them dying. Right? Like, isn't that kind of a bit odd? Right, so ideally with Bloodseekers, you want all 5 enemy heroes at 1% HP, and you don't want them... Why is this bot just spamming the dire structure fortification? Okay, let me what the fuck this really quick. Like, I don't know what's going on with those bots right now. But Bloodseeker has this weird disconnect where he, wants enemies to be at 1% HP, but he doesn't want them to die, because once they die, he becomes weaker. Now, personally, I think what they will probably eventually do, and what they probably should eventually do, is rebalance him to have it so that when an enemy is dead, they're considered at 0% HP for the sake of first. But this is a first step into that direction, I think, where they're extending the duration at which you are now considered to be basically dead, right? So that's kind of cool. I think this is definitely a step in the right direction. I would like for them to go even further than that. Maybe... Okay, Marco. It's okay. We don't need to use Glyph. We are fine. I don't know why these bots are freaking out over Glyph right now. Oh my god, what is going on up here? Alright, I feel like I gotta send these this hero up here really quick and clean this up a bit. Anyway, so that's just the Bloodseeker change, right? I think it's a step in the right direction. It is definitely a significant buff. You're gonna be able to keep zooming around much longer during fights. But yeah. Anyway, then we've got Chen. Holy Persuasion can no longer target non-player allied creeps. Now this took me a little while to realize what was going on there, but Holy Persuasion is Chen's E. It's used to dominate creeps, right? So I can walk into a lane here and I can go ahead and steal me this guy, which is sick. Now, Holy Persuasion also has some different uses. Like I can use it on this creep to teleport it back to base, and then I can use it on others. I can also use it on myself to teleport creeps to me and all of that stuff. But what you used to be able to do is you used to be able to cast Holy Persuasion on allied lane creeps. Which, what that did is it basically made it so that, you know, you kind of start the lane with one creep getting sent back all the way to the base before then walking back into the lane, essentially denying that creep for a limited time, allowing you for better lane positioning. I know that seems like a very high level change, but well it is a very high level change, and yeah, so that's something they did, and that's the change to Chen. Then we've got Darkseer, Vacuum AoE increased. Now this one is really mostly a balance change, but I think it's kind of important because there's a lot of balance changes here. So you can see that the Vacuum, I just skilled it a bunch of times. Sorry, I'm an idiot. Great hero, Darkseer. Right, so you can see level 1 Vacuum now has a really big AoE. This bot is a level 6, right? Like this is his Vacuum, this is that Vacuum. You can see the gap isn't as large anymore. It used to be that level 1 Vacuum was really terrible because it has such a small AoE. Now it has a much better value point. It also has, you know, a change in cooldown. So max out it has a lower cooldown, but a much higher cooldown at level 1. And then a bunch of other variables which aren't really that important. Wall of Replica width increased, which I think is actually kind of noteworthy. 1300 is quite a bit. Like, it's very long now. Like, look at that. That is a very long wall. So that's kind of important to keep in mind here. Chat is freaking out because they want me to use Easy Buy. Wait. Easy Buy. And get myself a Battle Fury on this Ricky. Let me see if that actually works. No, it doesn't work. Don't have access to the shop. Alright. Let's talk about Ricky while we're at it. So Ricky has a new ultimate. Tricks of the Trade still kind of works the way it did before, but now when you activate it, instead of just attacking all enemies at once a second, it will attack a random enemy hero on a much shorter interval, like 0.5 up to 0.4. And again, only one at a time. And it will prioritize heroes, but it will also attack creeps. That's really important. We'll get to that in a second. But this is what it looks like. This is the max level version, but lower level version doesn't look much different. Right? So it just kind of like, you know, it does a good chunk of damage. I'm going to go ahead and skill up point into Cloak and Dagger so you can see that in action. Right? But it's actually a very powerful ability. I think this is definitely something that makes carry Ricky a possibility. If you guys have played some Open Angel Arena and you've played some Sohei, which is my custom hero there, right? You know that this ability is very similar to Sohei's ultimate. And Sohei's ultimate is very powerful. This will also be very powerful. Assuming you get to kind of make use of it as like a carry Ricky, right? I don't think it makes much of a difference for a support Ricky. Now what's important to keep in mind here is that it works on creeps, right? So if I go ahead and I use this on creeps right here, then... oh. Come on, man. Get away from this. If I use it on creeps right here, you can see that the creeps, they just kind of like... yeah. They run away. Why are they running away now? Did this earlier, they weren't running away. Weird. Alright, doesn't really matter too much. But Tricks of the Trade, you know, you can use it to farm creeps with it. Specifically camps. It's gonna be very powerful. You know, these kind of like stacks if you get a Battle Fury. I know... of course, you expect me to, like, say the Battle Fury, but I'm not even memeing. Like, Ricky with Battle Fury might actually be a build now. People are saying is that it was night. It is night. They are asleep. Just a second ago, and this was on stream, and chat can, can confirm this, but I was using the Tricks of the Trade on the creeps, and they weren't running away. I don't know why that was. It might be because I didn't have Cloak and Dagger skill. Let me go ahead and test that. Great hero Ricky. I gotta get myself my tome really quick. Got the tome floating around here somewhere. Right? And it didn't aggro the creeps. Like, they would just kind of like continue chilling. So activate this. Isn't that weird? If you don't skill Cloak and Dagger, the creeps don't aggro. And as soon as I skill Cloak and Dagger... No. I don't know what the fuck is going on there. Now they're running. That's just weird. Now, honestly, I don't know what the hell is happening there. But point being, sometimes they stay in the clump. And then you can clip them down. Yeah, that's just weird. It seems like a bug to me. Like, I don't know what's going on there. So Ricky's invis? But my Ricky wasn't invis. Maybe if I... So if I'm visible... Weird! If I'm visible, they don't run away.
Whom shall I kill?
But if I do it while invisible, they do run away.
Like a whisper.
Okay, let's try this again. That is so weird. Okay, I'm visible. They don't run. Alright, we already figured out how to abuse this thing. So when you're using this, make sure to hit the creeps once. Alright, let me go and max this out. So it's only got 3-second fade delay now, but that shouldn't make a difference. Hit them once and then use the ultimate because that keeps them clumped on top of each other. For a little while, and then they start running away.
As you bid.
Who the fuck really knows how this shit works? Like, maybe there's value to not maxing out Cloak and Dagger. But honestly, once you have a Battle Fury, cleaning this out in 3 seconds is not going to be a problem. Anyway. So that's Ricky. We've got Enchantress. Enchantress just mostly had some number changes. But the really important number change is that Enchant now has a much longer cooldown at level 1. And a much shorter duration. Which means that now you can no longer overlap enchant. Right? I can't control this. Thanks, Dota. But you can no longer overlap enchant at level 1. You actually have to max it out. As you can see, creep enchant duration 50 seconds at level 1 and then 55 seconds cooldown. So at level 1, I can only have 1 creep at a time. If I level it up, creep enchant duration 60 seconds and then 40 seconds. There's a little bit of overlap there. At max level, however, you get creep enchant duration 80 seconds and cooldown 10 seconds. So in theory, you can have 8 creeps, which is kind of insane if you think about it. In a more realistic sense, what you'll likely have is maybe 5 to 6. Like, I can't see that happening. Can you chill? Like, why do you keep doing this? But that's still a lot, right? So that's kind of interesting that they made it so she has more creeps towards the end there. We've got Gyrocopter. Gyrocopter, I just kind of like put here because Gyrocopter had some significant number changes. Flak Cannon previously had 30 seconds cooldown. Now it has 40 seconds cooldown. If you guys play Gyrocopter, you know that this is actually quite significant, right? Like, this just matters. It's just a big change, right? Like, 30 seconds and 40 seconds cooldown is significant. Then IO. IO is the fun one. So, IO now no longer disconnects the tether when he's linked up to somebody. Also, guys, these creeps are just like not letting me do my thing. I can actually like turn off the creeps at this point. I needed the creeps earlier so I can kind of like show what I wanted to show. But at this stage, I don't really need them anymore. Anyway. IO has a new tether. Tether now sets your movement speed to match the tethered's target speed, and tether no longer has a duration. That is insane. So tether now just kind of like you apply it and now you're linked up to somebody and you can stay linked up to them forever. Right? Previously with IO you always needed to consider the cooldown and the duration and all of that, right? You needed to cast a Q on somebody and then you just like after a while you had to recast it again, all of that. Now the cooldown does take down while you're doing this, I think. Wait, let me check really quick. Right, so you're linked up to somebody and you do this and you hang out and all of that, and then you disable, and as you can see, the cooldown does still tick down, so that's important to keep in mind. I love this change. This is a change I should have done a long time ago. This is the kind of change that really just makes IO nicer to play. And yeah, it is a buff, but they did nerf him to go along with it, right? Like the IO Tether now, as you can see, movement speed bonus has been rescaled. The region sharing has been rescaled, so the value point isn't as good. So you do need to actually max it out, but it just is gonna make IO feel much better. And now people are saying it's a huge buff. It's really not that big of a buff, because like a good IO player would have 100% uptime on the Tether anyway. Right now, it's just less annoying to have that 100% uptime. It's really more of a quality of life change than it is an actual buff. Now, it is also a buff, right? These things can often go hand in hand. But again, the hero was also adjusted a little bit to make up for it. I love this change. Like, this change is great. I think they should have done this a long time ago. Now, this also means that IO can now go really fast. Right, so we've got our Darkseer here. If I go and take this Darkseer and buff this Darkseer, 550, and our IO also has 550. And once that runs out, we're back to 337. This does kind of mean that IO doesn't need boots anymore. Right? Like, she kind of doesn't need boots anymore. Why do you need boots as IO at this stage? I imagine people will still probably get brown boots. I mean, like, having boots is just really important. Like, what if you're not linked up to somebody? But yeah, like, IO doesn't really need boots anymore. Like, if it gets to super late game, then you just don't need boots. Bloodseeker does, of course, have a little bit more movement speed than most. So you can see right now I've got 900 movement speed. If I go and link up with my IO, then I'm stuck at 550. Right, so it doesn't work that way. You can't break the movement speed limit. But hey, at least you're moving with 550 movement speed, right? Alright, so that's nice. Then we've got Phantom Assassin. Did I put a Phantom Assassin in here somewhere? No. Anyway, it's not that important. Phantom Assassin Stifling Dagger now goes through magic immunity, which is just like a nice little change, you know. It doesn't slow through magic immunity, but it does do damage through magic immunity, which is kind of going to be something where you can like catch people while they have their BKB active and all of that. I think the hero is now entirely like goes entirely through magic immunity. I'm pretty sure you can W on somebody that's magic immunity. It's just kind of like, yeah. Anyway, Phoenix. Perfect, it's night. I need my tome. Where's my tome? There it is. It is day! Oh my god! Yes, Phoenix Ultimate now makes a day while it's going on. This is a change that's been on Reddit like 1,000,000 times. Like, it's just been on there. People have talked about this so much. Yeah, it's a great change. I think it's really a thematic change. It's not really so much a balance change. It also had some balance changes. It now has a bigger AoE, 1,300 instead of 1,000. That's pretty significant. I do think that's a significant buff. But yeah, so kind of a counter a little bit to Night Stalker, although not super significant because of course the Phoenix Ultimate doesn't last all that long. It's only 6 seconds, right? But hey, maybe that does make a difference in a fight sometime, and maybe that's a bit of a consideration for playing Phoenix against Night Stalker. So, Shadow Demon. This one is pretty significant, and here's my little Nyx Assassin. I'm gonna need one of these. I'm also gonna need what the fuck mode. So, Demonic Purge now lasts longer. It now has a scaling slow that kind of linearly goes down. It has a longer duration. And Demonic Purge no longer roots non-hero units? I didn't even know it did that. That's weird. Did anybody know that it did root non-hero units before? I don't know. You don't really use it for that, do you? But what's important here is that Demonic Purge now continuously dispels the target. This is actually a really significant change. So right here you can see my Nyx Assassin. I've got my drums, right? That's a cool buff. I'm gonna go ahead and get purged. Usually I would get purged once, right? But now I can keep spamming drums, doesn't make a difference. Right, until this thing is over, I just can't be buffed anymore, and then I can activate my drums, and I've got that back. But as soon as this goes on me again, just no chance, just not gonna happen, right? Now, this of course only works with things that are dispellable, so for example, the pipe here, that doesn't work. But yeah. Pretty significant change. It doesn't mean that it takes longer for the damage to come out, which is kind of a nerf in that regard, but at the same time, it's something that I think makes Shadow Demon more of a niche pick. It makes him much better against specific heroes and targets in specific games, and kind of worse in general. Like, because like sometimes oftentimes you really only need one purge, right? You don't need continuous purges like that. But it is really good against heroes like Legion Commander, for example, right? Who really wants to like have that kind of regeneration, right? But it's just not going to be able to do that. It's really good against specific lineups and less good universally. But I might be wrong about that. I'm just mostly worried about the damage coming out so late. Yeah. Anyway. We've got Slaug. Slaug just had a pretty like minor change, but they changed his regeneration. Now instead of having a regeneration of 1.5, he has 2.75. So as you can see, with like no buffs, right now 3.1 health regeneration. It doesn't seem like a huge change, but I actually think it's one of the main things Slaug needed. Slaug didn't need much to be good. Like honestly, the hero is pretty solid. He's not super incredible, but he just needs a little push and he's gonna be really powerful again. And I think this might be the little push he needs. So we'll see. Then we've got Slaughter. Guardian Sprint no longer has 15% spell. This is one of those cases where I think it's important to kind of bring it up because it changes how you play the hero. So you no longer want to or like need to worry about, you know, taking extra damage during Guardian Sprint. It just doesn't have the property anymore. It does have a shorter duration. But I do actually kind of like it, you know. Like, it's such a simple ability. Did it really need the 15%? I don't know. Anyway. I'm not sure if it's a nerf or buff. Could be both, right? It's kind of a little bit of a change in general. And we've got Spirit Breaker. Empowering Haste no longer reduces your movement speed afterwards. Where's my Spirit Breaker? I thought I had one. Did my Spirit Breaker run off? Sometimes my heroes just disappear. Create hero bar. Oh, that's definitely not right. But Spirit Breakers, Empowering Haze, doesn't no Barafoom? Create hero, Spirit Breaker. Oh, there he is. Alright. Previously, Empowering Haze made it so when you activate it, you no longer have the movement speed afterwards, right? So you get a little bit of a buff, and then you lose it after you activate it. This is no longer the case. Now, I'm gonna, of course, no longer have the buff, but I will also not lose the movement speed afterwards, which is kind of nice. So again, it's one of those changes where it's just something to keep in mind while playing the hero, because like, it just kind of changes it a little bit. And then we've got the last one, which is an Undying Change. Now, this one I'm just talking about because the sentence was really confusing to me, and I kind of think that maybe some other people might run into the same issue that I did, which is Undying zombie critical health attack speed boost increased from 50 to 75. Now, I know that's kind of weird phrasing, but essentially what this means, Undying zombies, they have this bloodlust property, right? So if I go ahead and place a tombstone here, and then I attack you, alright, past a certain point, these zombies become bloodlusted and they attack quicker, as you can see right here. Right, like these attack slowly, these attack very quickly. And that boost, that attack speed boost, has been buffed. Previously it was 50, now it's 70. And that's what they're trying to say when they say Undying Zombie critical health attack speed boost increased from 50 to 75. I don't know, it was confusing to me. I get if it's so confusing to you, but it was kind of confusing to me. Anyway, that's that. Sorry for the few hiccups in there. This is mostly just like the stupid like cheats and lobbies thing. Like Valve actually made this a lot more complicated a few months ago. I don't know why it doesn't work as smoothly as it used to, but anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a rating on the video. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.